Terrifying creatures near Area 51 were caught on camera, and now scientists admit something is horribly wrong here.
These are not rumors, not campfire stories, not blurry lights in the sky. This is raw footage ripped from the edge of secrecy. Shapes that move wrong, bodies that bend against biology, eyes that reflect awareness, not instinct. Cameras don't scream, but the people holding them do. Scientists pause frames and go silent. Analysts argue, then stop arguing. Because whatever is appearing near Area 51 doesn't behave like animals, doesn't react like machines, and doesn't exist anywhere in recorded nature. These beings watch. They test boundaries. They appear where they shouldn't, and vanish where evidence should remain. Every clip feels like an accident, like something that slipped through containment for seconds too long. The deeper you look, the clearer it becomes. This isn't coincidence. It's escalation. Something is changing, and the cameras just caught the beginning. Stay focused. What you're about to see was never meant to surface.
Before we expose everything, like, comment, and subscribe to Mystery Footage Uncovered now.
At the edge of a restricted desert airfield near Area 51, filmed at night under floodlights by a transport crew's handheld phone, a metal cage on a flatbed truck revealed something no manifest listed. A pale form shifted inside, on camera. Its posture snapped sideways, caught on. Reflective eyes flared white at the lens. Scientists shocked. The figure's height changed as it hunched and straightened, limbs too long and bent at extra joints, skin oily and cracked like scorched clay, moving in jerks before surging forward with sudden speed, emitting a warped sound that blended mechanical grinding with wind pushed through a human throat, leading some analysts to suggest radiation-driven mutation or prolonged subterranean adaptation, hunched like a wrecked pickup yet lunging with the explosive force of an NFL sprinter. If this was already being transported alive, how many times has it been moved without anyone realizing it was watching back? Recorded in broad daylight on a long-range lens by an unknown observer outside a secured perimeter, several armed personnel were seen escorting a thin humanoid shape across the open desert near Area 51. A distorted silhouette staggered forward, filmed at distance, limbs dragged unevenly, caught on camera. The head turned too smoothly, scientists shocked. Its proportions appeared wrong, legs too long and angled inward, arms hanging past the knees with stiff, segmented motion. Skin pale gray and blotched, eyes flashing greenish-white in the sun, moving heavy as a bison yet silent as a stalking cat, producing a faint distorted hum described by witnesses as wind passing through bent metal, prompting speculation of abnormal evolution or engineered tissue deformation reminiscent of early Loveland frogmen reports from the Midwest, where humanoid amphibious forms were similarly escorted by authorities. If it needed guards in open terrain, what happens when something like that stops cooperating? Captured during daytime by a civilian zoom camera aimed beyond a chain-link fence, a military transport truck near a desert facility briefly exposed its interior. The rear doors opened, filmed steadily. A tall shape stood motionless, caught on. No sound carried, scientists shocked. Inside the truck, a humanoid figure with inconsistent height and elongated arms remained unnaturally still, skin pale and cracked with dark, oily patches, eyes reflecting light despite shadow, then shifting forward in a single jerky step that covered impossible distance, followed by a low vibration blending mechanical resonance with a human groan, suggesting dense musculature and altered nervous response, possibly linked to radiation exposure. Its posture bent like a collapsed crane beam, but its movement controlled and deliberate, as if conserving energy. If silence is its default state, how close would it need to be before we ever hear it coming? Deep underground, filmed by head-mounted exploration cameras during a cave descent later removed from public listings, a massive winged humanoid emerged from darkness. A towering shape unfolded on camera. Wings flexed with jerky precision, caught on. Eyes glowed back green, scientists shocked. The creature's limbs were overextended with extra joints, torso elongated and ribbed beneath pale, cracked skin streaked with darker stains, its movement awkward at first before accelerating with frightening speed, producing a distorted sound like rotating machinery layered with wind and strained vocal cords, leading some to theorize accelerated mutation from isolation and mineral radiation, while others note similarities to skinwalker legends describing shape-shifting cave dwellers that mimic human form before revealing inhuman anatomy. If something that large evolved unseen below us, what else learned to stay hidden better? Filmed underground during a night operation using high-powered lamps, a towering one-eyed entity stood at the mouth of a cavern while personnel froze in place. A single eye opened, filmed clearly. The body swayed unnaturally, caught on. The ground vibrated faintly, scientists shocked. Its height fluctuated as its spine compressed and extended, arms ending in overlong segments that bent backward, skin pale gray and slick, eyes reflecting cold white light. Movement stuttering before a sudden glide forward heavy as a bison yet soundless, followed by a low, mechanical wind howl that witnesses said smelled like hot metal and rot, possibly indicating abnormal tissue breakdown or non-standard respiration in an organism shaped by extreme subterranean conditions. If it didn't advance because it chose not to, what signal would make it decide otherwise? Recorded by a handheld camera during an unauthorized cave survey, later flagged and removed, a tall humanoid figure rose slowly from behind rock formations. A head appeared first, on camera, limbs unfolded in stages, caught on, its eyes fixed on the operator, scientists shocked. The body revealed inconsistent proportions, legs too long and twisted, arms stretching with extra joints, skin cracked and blotched like dried salt flats. Eyes reflecting pale green light, its movement jerky but capable of explosive bursts, accompanied by a distorted sound combining airflow, metal stress, and a broken human tone, suggesting extreme mutation or non-human evolutionary pathways, heavy as a bison yet moving with predatory patience, as if assessing rather than attacking. If it didn't chase the camera, was it already confident the exit belonged to it instead? Inside a sterile industrial laboratory, filmed by an internal safety camera as technicians crowded a yellow containment tank, a submerged humanoid mass suddenly rose into view. A distorted head broke the surface, on camera. Arms folded inward at wrong angles, caught on. A silent scream opened wide, scientists shocked. Its height appeared inconsistent as the torso compressed and expanded, limbs thick yet uneven with extra joint bends, skin blotched and cracked like overcooked clay soaked in oil, eyes hidden but reacting to light, movement jerky, until a sudden violent surge sent water sloshing, accompanied by a warped sound witnesses described as metal, scraping through wind mixed with a human groan, suggesting tissue deformation and nerve overgrowth possibly caused by prolonged chemical exposure or forced mutation, heavy as a bison yet thrashing with the panic strength of trapped machinery. If this reaction happened in a controlled lab, what would it do if it ever sensed an exit instead of a wall? Recorded indoors by a handheld phone during what appears to be a closed-door demonstration, a towering insect-like figure stood beside a uniformed man for scale. A glossy limb lifted, on camera. Jointed claws flexed slowly, caught on. The head angled down, scientists shocked. The creature's proportions were wildly abnormal, limbs stretched like crane arms with serrated edges, torso narrow and elevated, surface black and reflective as if coated in oil, eyes catching light in sharp white points. Its movement controlled but punctuated by abrupt micro-twitches, producing a clicking metal resonance layered with air pressure shifts, leading some analysts to speculate biomechanical hybridization or extreme evolutionary divergence. Tall as a construction scaffold, yet balanced with the eerie stillness of a poised predator. If this was shown calmly indoors, was it meant to intimidate someone or reassure them that it could be controlled? Filmed in a stainless steel processing room by an employee wearing protective gear, a small pale organism clung to a handler's shoulder like a child. Its eyes blinked sideways, on camera. A thin tail tightened briefly, caught on. No crying followed, scientists shocked. The infant-sized body showed disproportionate limbs and an elongated spine, skin smooth but pale and almost translucent, with faint blotching, eyes reflecting soft white light, movements jerky yet surprisingly coordinated, emitting faint distorted chirps that sounded like air forced through wet metal, with a sharp odor noted by nearby staff as hot steel mixed with decay, raising theories of accelerated growth experiments or cross-species genetic splicing, fragile-looking yet gripping with unnatural strength like a newborn wrapped around exposed wiring. If this is the juvenile stage, how quickly does something like this learn what it's being raised for? Captured by a stationary trail camera using night vision near a Forest Service marker labeled 51, a small humanoid figure emerged from between the trees. Its eyes reflected green, on camera. The body swayed unevenly, caught on. Silence held too long, scientists shocked. The figure's height shifted as it moved, limbs too long for its torso and bent inward at odd angles, skin appearing dark and matted under infrared with pale highlights. Movement hesitant, then suddenly swift, accompanied by a low, distorted hum like wind vibrating through a pipe, evoking historical Dover demon sightings where similar small, large-eyed entities were reported watching roadsides rather than crossing them, suggesting an observational behavior pattern rather than random movement. If it stood there only to watch the road, who or what was it actually waiting to see pass by? Filmed by a professional camera crew inside a secured facility hallway, a long glass tank revealed multiple identical humanoid forms partially submerged. Heads tilted in unison, on camera. Hands pressed to glass, caught on. Breathing fogged the interior, scientists shocked. Each body displayed the same deformities: elongated arms with extra joints, bloated torsos tapering into thin legs, pale gray skin cracked and swollen, eyes reflecting white under overhead lights, movement slow and synchronized until one lunged forward abruptly, producing a muffled mechanical wind groan that vibrated through the casing, suggesting cloned or replicated tissue lines possibly altered for endurance or environmental resistance, lined up like mannequins yet reacting like living things aware of being observed. If they respond together, what happens the moment one of them reacts first? Recorded by a ceiling-mounted black and white security camera inside a circular containment chamber, a massive tentacled organism thrashed in a liquid-filled basin, appendages curled upward, on camera, suctioned limbs flexed violently, caught on. The feed distorted briefly, scientists shocked. The central mass appeared amorphous with inconsistent height as it rose and collapsed, multiple limbs extending like segmented cables with extra joints, surface slick and dark, eyes not clearly visible but light reactive, movement chaotic then explosively fast, generating a sound described as machinery grinding underwater mixed with a strained human moan, and an odor reported as hot metal and rot, leading to theories of deep-sea DNA manipulation or non-terrestrial biology adapted to pressure and confinement. If this is what survives inside a sealed chamber, what kind of environment would it consider home? Inside a sealed industrial room filmed by an internal facility camera, rows of white troughs held humanoid heads suspended in amber liquid while technicians stood on either side. A mouth opened wide, on camera. Eyes rolled upward together, caught on. The liquid rippled without touch, scientists shocked. Each body showed inconsistent height below the surface, necks stretching then compressing, shoulders warped, skin pale gray and cracked with oily sheen, eyes reflecting white under overhead lights, movement limited but violently jerky when it occurred, accompanied by a low distorted resonance like wind pushed through metal ducts, mixed with a human moan, leading some analysts to speculate suspended metabolic states, cloned tissue degradation, or radiation-altered nervous systems, lined up like factory molds, yet reacting with shared awareness, heavy as soaked concrete, but twitching with sudden intent. If they can sense observation through glass and fluid, what happens when they sense fear instead? Captured in daylight by a handheld phone near a landed craft in open desert terrain, a thin gray humanoid stepped toward the camera without hesitation, long fingers flexed, on camera. The head tilted unnaturally, caught on. The shadow lagged behind, scientists shocked. Its height appeared wrong as it advanced, legs bending too far back, arms hanging long with extra joints, skin smooth but pale and blotched, eyes dark yet flashing white at certain angles. Movement jerky until a sudden glide forward covered ground too quickly, emitting a faint mechanical wind tone like air vibrating through a hollow pipe, suggesting abnormal evolution or non-terrestrial physiology, built light as scaffolding but moving with the confidence of something that knows it's faster. If it approached without fear, was it greeting the camera or measuring it? Filmed indoors by a phone during what appears to be a controlled feeding or restraint test, a massive bloated humanoid sat centered in a bare room. Red eyes locked forward on camera. The torso heaved unevenly, caught on. The floor creaked under stillness, scientists shocked. Its body mass was inconsistent, belly distended far beyond skeletal logic, limbs short and swollen yet ending in jointed hands, skin pale, cracked and stained with oil-like residue, eyes glowing red-white, movement minimal but capable of explosive lurches, producing a distorted wheeze like machinery, choking on air mixed with a human growl, leading to theories of forced metabolic mutation or containment-bred aberration. Heavy as a bison, yet balanced like a loaded wrecking ball waiting to swing. If it doesn't need to stand to be dangerous, what exactly is the chair restraining? Recorded at 02:17:53 a.m. by a stationary night vision security camera overlooking a fenced animal enclosure, a tall shadow rose behind the gate as animals reacted. Eyes ignited white, on camera, hands curled over metal bars, caught on. The dogs froze mid-charge, scientists shocked. The figure's height shifted as it leaned forward, arms elongated with extra joints, fingers splayed too wide, skin darkened under infrared with pale highlights, eyes reflecting intensely, movement slow, then suddenly precise, accompanied by a low, vibrating hum like wind through tensioned wire, mixed with a broken human tone, suggesting predatory observation rather than attack, heavy enough to flex steel yet motionless, as if studying behavior patterns. If animals sense it before it moves, how long before it learns how to call them closer? Captured by a ceiling-mounted security feed labeled Cam 4, inside a drained, tiled basin, a massive spider-like form spread across the floor as a suited figure entered below. Multiple limbs adjusted, on camera. The shadow moved first, caught on. The feed stuttered briefly, scientists shocked. Its body mass appeared inconsistent as it rose and flattened, limbs extending like segmented beams with extra joints, surface dark and slick, eyes indistinct yet light reactive. Movement jerky until a sudden rapid repositioning suggested extreme speed, producing a grinding wind resonance that vibrated the room, implying altered arachnid genetics or engineered predatory morphology, wide as a pickup truck, yet silent as falling dust when still. If the camera caught it waiting instead of attacking, was the pool ever meant to be empty? Filmed at night from inside a vehicle near a marked Area 51 roadway, a pale humanoid was seen at arm's length as a uniformed figure reached for it, a thin arm lifted, on camera. The face blurred mid-motion, caught on. The headlights dimmed briefly, scientists shocked. The entity's height fluctuated as it struggled, limbs too long and bending wrong, skin pale gray and slick, eyes reflecting white in the glare, movement erratic but suddenly powerful, emitting a distorted sound like metal flexing in wind, layered with a strained human cry, suggesting stress-induced strength and non-standard musculature, light as a mannequin, yet wrenching free with explosive force. If this was an extraction gone wrong, how many roadside encounters never make it back into the vehicle at all? Infrared footage from a rural enclosure shows a guard dog locked in place, muscles tense, breath visible in the cold air, staring at something standing just beyond the wooden slats. The shape doesn't rush. It leans in slowly, fingers probing gaps as if testing resistance. Its eyes flare unnaturally bright, reflecting the camera with a sharpness that doesn't belong to wildlife. The figure stands upright longer than any known predator would dare, limbs stretched thin and uneven, joints bending with hesitant precision. Inside the pen, livestock collapse into stillness. No panic, no movement, only submission. Analysts later noted the creature never once looks at the animals. It watches the dog, Then, without sound or retreat signal, it steps back into darkness. No prints, no hair, no disturbed soil. Experts weren't alarmed by what it did, but by how clearly it seemed to decide not to enter. A residential doorbell camera recorded two massive silhouettes crossing a quiet sidewalk after midnight, their bodies briefly illuminated by a single street lamp. They moved side by side, unhurried, shoulders swaying with the confidence of something accustomed to open terrain rather than pavement. Frame analysis confirmed accurate shadows, natural motion blur, and ground compression consistent with immense weight. Each figure towers well beyond normal scale, torsos thick, arms hanging low, heads forward-facing and expressionless. Despite their size, there's no audible impact, no rattling windows, no cracking concrete. They pass through the frame and vanish at the edge of the lens. The ground shows nothing the next morning. No footprints, no crushed grass. Scientists reviewing the footage admitted something unsettling. The figures weren't lost. They were passing through, as if the neighborhood was already mapped. The camera captures rippling water first, then a form rising slowly from the swamp, half submerged, perfectly balanced. Its skin gleams smooth and wet, stretched tight over a narrow frame that doesn't fully belong to land or water. When it lifts its head, two yellow eyes lock directly onto the lens. The creature doesn't flinch. It doesn't retreat. It simply observes. Long fingers break the surface, webbing visible, joints flexing with control rather than struggle. Specialists later noted the anatomy defies classification. Not amphibian, not mammal, not human. Local reports had mentioned strange sounds for months, low gurgles, measured splashes, but nothing ever visible. Until this. What troubled researchers most wasn't emergence from the water. It was the stillness, as if it had been waiting for the camera to notice. Evening security footage shows a pale figure sliding into view along a rain-slicked driveway, limbs folding and unfolding like an insect forced into human shape. It moves close to the ground, silent, efficient, its weight barely registering on the surface. Near the entrance, it pauses. Slowly, deliberately, it raises its head. The face is wrong, sunken, tight, almost skull-like, eyes dark and unblinking. The camera captures perfect reflections on the wet concrete, confirming the body is fully present. Then the hand reaches out, not frantic, not aggressive, testing the door frame. Pressure, release, a scan of the surroundings. Seconds later, it withdraws and disappears beyond the edge of the light. No marks, no prints. Experts later agreed on one point. This wasn't a case encounter, it was reconnaissance. Night vision footage from a cemetery shows a thin, hunched form tearing into loose soil with unnatural speed. Dirt sprays backward as elongated limbs work in sharp, repetitive motions, far too precise for an animal. Its frame appears starved, skeletal, skin stretched tight as it digs. Suddenly it stops. The head lifts. The body freezes mid-motion. The creature seems to listen, sniffing the air, jaw opening wider than anatomy should allow. The posture isn't panic, it's assessment. Experts reviewing the footage noted the digging angle, the grip pattern, the intent. This wasn't random disturbance, it was targeted. When authorities checked the site later, the grave showed signs of forced entry. The coffin bore fresh marks. What left them shaken wasn't what was taken. It was the precision of the search. A daytime recording from farmland shows tall corn shifting unnaturally before a thin, elongated shape steps into view. The figure blends disturbingly well with its surroundings, its skin textured like dried husk, ribs forming rigid patterns that mirror the stalks around it. The camera zooms, the head turns slowly, joints rotating too far, too smoothly. It doesn't flee, it studies. Symmetrical markings along its torso catch the light, patterns no known disease or species can explain. Agricultural specialists later noted something chilling. The creature's proportions match the height and spacing of the crops almost perfectly. Camouflage by design, not chance. With one fluid step, it retreats back into the rows. The field swallows it whole. If it can hide in plain sight like that, the real question isn't what was filmed, but how often it wasn't. The diver's camera descends into a lightless ocean hollow where sound thins and pressure dominates. And that's where the figure waits. Seated on the seabed, unmoving, it appears almost sculpted from pale stone. Its upper body is humanoid, elongated and delicate, fingers stretched impossibly thin, while a massive tail coils beneath like a resting serpent. Cradled against its chest are several smaller forms, infant-sized, smooth-skinned, their eyes open and unblinking. The flashlight beam shakes as it lands on the creature's face. Instead of retreating, the entity raises its head with deliberate calm. Analysts later noted retinal reflections identical to deep-sea ambush predators, optimized for darkness humans never evolved to see. The tail shifts slightly, revealing musculature more eel than fish. Behind it, the rock face curves inward like a hollowed chamber, possibly intentional. If this wasn't a chance encounter, the question becomes unsettling. How long has it been nesting there? Motion sensors trigger under starlight, revealing a shape moving between livestock pens, not fast, not cautious, but curious. At first, it resembles a sickly canine until its proportions betray it. Legs too long, spine arched wrong, a tail that doesn't sway but juts stiffly behind, segmented like an insect limb. Two dogs react instantly. One retreats, the other locks up entirely. Neither barks. The creature moves laterally, twitching as if receiving delayed signals, head tilting in short mechanical bursts. Its eyes flare when it notices the camera, not startled, but focused. Veterinary experts later dismissed disease or injury. No known mammal carries weight or balance this way. What unsettled reviewers wasn't its presence among animals, but its pause. It turns fully toward the lens and remains there, motionless. Predators hunt prey. This one appeared to be evaluating witnesses. The footage begins with darkness, then light floods the room, revealing movement where none should exist. From beneath the bed emerges a thin gray form, skin stretched tight and smooth like damp rubber. Its eyes reflect immediately, oversized and alert, and its mouth curls upward into something resembling a smile. Instead of recoiling from illumination, it advances. It crawls forward on elongated arms, fingers bending too many times at the joints, gait controlled and deliberate. Behavioral specialists later pointed out the facial expression doesn't change, not even when the camera shakes. It appears practiced, rehearsed. The skin shows no pores, no hair, no indication of mammalian origin. Its head tilts slowly, as though studying the angle of fear. People who viewed the footage reported the same reaction, the urge to pull their feet up off the floor. If it chose a bedroom to hide in, it may already understand where we feel safest. A bathroom camera captures a slight movement in the shower curtain, then a head pushes through, hairless, wet, smiling far too wide. The body follows not by stepping, but sliding, segmented like something designed for pipes rather than floors. The creature emits a faint clicking noise, rhythmic and measured. Audio analysts later suggested spatial mapping, echolocation adapted for enclosed spaces. Its skin flexes unnaturally, compressing to fit through gaps that shouldn't allow passage. Its eyes dart rapidly, scanning tile, mirror, doorway. When it opens its jaws, layers of narrow teeth unfold inward like a trap mechanism. Researchers reviewing the footage issued a rare joint concern. The anatomy suggests cohabitation. An organism evolved not to invade wilderness, but infrastructure. If it came from the plumbing, how many places can it reach without ever being seen? Fishermen strain against the weight in their net, expecting resistance, panic, thrashing. Instead, the thing inside writhes with something resembling amusement. Pale skin glistens under deck lights, stretched tight as if never meant for air. Its eyes meet the camera and hold contact. Then it laughs. Not a sound of distress, but a warped, breathy cadence that rises and falls like broken speech. Its mouth stretches wide, teeth uneven and decayed, yet expressive. Too expressive. Marine specialists froze on this detail. The facial musculature mirrors human emotion far too closely. It doesn't fight the ropes. It plays with them. Several analysts suggested ancient maritime accounts, creatures that lure, that observe, that allow capture to learn behavior. If it wanted to escape, it likely could have. The disturbing implication isn't that it was caught, but that it chose to be. A static camera records an abandoned interior when movement begins center frame. A multi-limbed form unfolds into view, its anatomy fluid, joints rotating in directions bones shouldn't allow. Arms rise, twist, cross, separate, each moving with independence yet perfect timing. The skin appears thin and damaged, stretched over twitching muscle that pulses irregularly, as if responding to internal signals. Some limbs vibrate faintly, producing a low mechanical hum beneath the audio feed. Experts couldn't agree on classification. The structure suggests adaptation to extremes: radiation, pressure, isolation. Others noted unsettling parallels to ancient depictions of ritual entities, beings defined not by survival but by purpose. The motion repeats, slowly, deliberately. Whether it is bowing, signaling, or performing something learned long ago remains unknown. What silenced the review room wasn't fear of the creature, but the possibility that the ritual wasn't meant for us at all. What you've just seen isn't simply a collection of strange clips or unsettling encounters. It's a pattern. Across oceans, forests, homes, and forgotten facilities, these recordings suggest something watching, adapting, and quietly learning. Whether these beings are the result of unknown evolution, hidden experiments, or something far older than humanity itself, one truth remains unsettling. We may no longer be the only observers. Science struggles when evidence arrives without explanation, and fear grows in the silence between official answers. These moments feel raw because they weren't meant to be public. They feel real because the reactions are real, and they linger because they raise questions we're not ready to face. If these entities exist on the edges of our world, then awareness is the first step to understanding and survival. If this footage made you question reality, like the video, share your theories in the comments and subscribe to Mystery Footage Uncovered, because some truths don't want to stay hidden.